All right, we are live here in Austin, Texas. It's been on edge the last couple of weeks with the Austin bomber, but they caught him this morning. So believe me, when I'm in between patients, I'm like peeking out the windows. Anyone dropping off packages at my house? So kind of feels a little bit, a little more relaxing. My adrenals are a little less on edge. So that's a good thing. So any questions you guys want to chime in here? Today's a good day. Feel free and reach out with any questions. I'll just kind of start riffing on any areas that I think are important here to me. So off the bat, what's up? Hey, Cynthia, hey, Spivey. Hope you guys are doing good. Any questions, feel free and start us off here. I got about 10 minutes between my next patient here. So I thought I'd just get some good information out there. All right. So what's up? What's up in functional medicine world? So in general, I would say from a health perspective, what's important for you guys here today? I mean, obviously intermittent fasting and ketogenic stuff's always the rage. I had a patient this morning, right? She was ketogenic, kind of lower carb, really got off some of the sugar, did great for the first 2 weeks, had a little bit of a die-off kind of phase for 3 days. So I see that sometimes when people go more keto is they're really starving off a lot of the bugs, because a lot of the bugs in our guts really prefer to be eating a whole bunch of easy to process carbohydrates. So, that die-off kind of thing can happen with a ketogenic type of approach. So keep that in mind. 2 major things: you can be killing off bugs, number one. Number two, you can be metabolically adapting to be burning more fat for fuel. A lot of people are primarily going to be sugar burners and burning a lot more sugar for fuel. And burning sugar for fuel is like trying to maintain a fire with gasoline and paper and not a nice solid log, right? The log's going to burn much longer and stronger. All right, so let's dig in here. How to raise IgA. Number one with IgA is get your cortisol under control. Stress will decrease your immune system, so will sugar. Food allergens, those kind of things. So get the things out that are going to be impairing it. Saccharomyces boulardii can help improve it. Collagen, colostrum can help improve it. Getting rid of infections and immune stressors can also help improve it. What do you think of instant coffee? I'd rather brew coffee. There's some decent ones out there. There's a cool one called Four Sigmatic. That's a good mushroom blend and pretty good coffee quality. I think it would depend on the quality, but I typically like to grind mine fresh and brew it at home as well. So I prefer that. What do you think of the carnivore diet? Bobby, give me a little more information. I mean, I would say like carnivore diet, kind of like paleo diet. What do you mean by that? Oh, I know, totally, Cynthia. Believe me, it feels good to not have that stress. It's kind of silly because it's like you got 5 or 6 million people in Austin, right? It's like winning the lottery is like the odds, but you have a higher chance of dying in a car accident, but still it's kind of surreal. Neil writes in, do you think the benefits of pomegranate juice outweigh the fact that it's juice? Well, I think a lot of these juices, there's some good nutrients in there. Like noni was all the craze like 10 years ago. The problem is you get a whole crap load of sugar along with it. So I think if you wanted to do a supplement where the extract and all those nutrients are pulled out and you can get the extract without the sugar, that's probably a better option. Like things like noni are really good. So I do like those, but without the sugar. Cynthia writes in, thyroid test after 3 months of medication. Give me a little more context, Cynthia. What do you mean thyroid test? So have you been on thyroid support and then you're retesting after 3 months? Good. How are you been feeling? What were your numbers like previously? Any thyroid symptoms still present? If you give me some more data, I'll be able to respond more specifically. James writes in, Dr. J, are you sure all that butter and MCT in my daily coffee will not cause artery cardiovascular issues? Hard to accept, still okay. Watch my video on cholesterol and dietary cholesterol. I had to get a big life insurance policy when I had my child last year, and I got the best policy I could get, did a term life insurance. They came and weighed me like I was a cattle, took blood, took urine, and I was able to get the highest ranking on the life insurance. So really happy about that. But number two, my cholesterol was like 180, right? 180. And I didn't even fast. They just showed up like at noontime at my house, and I had bulletproof coffee that morning, and I was still at 180. And I guarantee you, if I was fasting, it probably would have been 160. So again, cholesterol, the biggest thing that's going to affect that's going to be inflammation. Inflammation will affect that. But again, look at me. I'm 180 on the cholesterol. Not a problem. Not worried about it. The biggest thing that will affect the arteries, James, will be inflammation, inflammatory foods. Those are going to be the bigger things. So keep the foods anti-inflammatory. Old foods don't cause new disease. Old foods do not cause new disease. Gupta writes in, do you recommend glucomannan supplement for constipation? I mean, in my true fiber product, there is some glucomannan in there. I think it's a good fiber for constipation. Yes. Bobby writes in, my wife wants to start a ketogenic diet, but she thinks she's heard about hair loss. How can she avoid it? Well, number one, if she's insulin resistant, maybe she has a little bit of extra weight on her, then it's only going to help. If she's already at a really good weight, you can always start ketogenic, hold her there for a few days to a week, and then she can work her carbs up from there. Again, you're not going to have any deleterious effects on a ketogenic diet for a week or two. Not a big deal. In worst case, you can just gently dial up the carbs to what feels good. But if she's at a good weight, healthy weight, then maybe you do it for a few days and then work out of it. If she has a couple extra pounds on her, then she'll benefit because she'll get her insulin receptors more sensitive, which is good. Cynthia writes in, yes, so your thyroid's okay now. So I would, I think getting it retested and looking at your TSH, T4 free, T3 free. And it's always good to look at antibodies too. Noreen writes in, EBV has reactivated herbal treatment plan. How do you feel about script antivirals? For EBV, I don't know about script. You have to give me some more intel, but I would say monolaurin's great. Reishi mushroom's great. I would also say cat's claw's great. You could always do a silver is also good too. So those are my good ones for antivirals, and that helps a lot. Hope that helps. Let's see here, guys. What else? Good. Francis writes in, I had a bad sinus infection for 4 days. I've been doing oil of oregano and Parabiotic Select, which has mastic gum. Oregano grape, berberines, black bud powder. Good. I mean, I would say I would do a sinus flush as well. I would do maybe some silver up in your sinuses. Get a nasaline off of Amazon, and you can do a calcium, a bicarbonate / sea salt kind of flush in your nose. That'll be helpful. Do you think lemon balm helps with anxiety? Thanks for your knowledge. Yeah, I think lemon balm's good. It's a good relaxer. I mean, my biggest things for anxiety are going to be ashwagandha right here. Love ashwagandha. And then I do some liposomal GABA with L-theanine. That's great. So if my patients stress me out during the day, that's it. Money. And of course, you can do a little bit of EFT tapping. That's always really good too. What can cause a callus / corning on the back of the hands where there is no constant friction? That's interesting. I would always look at potential autoimmune stuff. If there's not like a repetitive thing that's built in the callus, I would lean to more of an autoimmune kind of thing. Again, it's amazing. Like if you are eating things that are really messing up your immune system, it's amazing all the collateral diseases and symptoms that can happen. Spivey writes in, magnesium oxide will sort out your constipation. Yeah, I mean, I would even do magnesium citrate instead. Why am I gaining weight on keto? Question is, are you doing it right? Are you measuring your ketones? Are you spitting out ketones? Number one, Jocelyn. Number two, do you have enough percent of fat in there? Are you 70, 80% fat, or are you getting too much protein in? Those are helpful to know first. Hey, Nora, we just chatted yesterday. Can thyroid issues, hypothyroidism keep me from healing SIBO? I would say in a way, yeah, because thyroid issues can slow down motility. And if we have slower motility, then there's chances of, us not evacuating things out properly. So I'd say potentially thyroid issues could be affecting your SIBO. Healthy thyroid does help kind of keep that migrating motor complex and keep your bowels moving at an optimal level. Hey, Marianne, hope you're doing well. How do you feel about the supplement Calm with magnesium? Is that the natural Calm, magnesium citrate? If it is, I do like that product. That's a good one. Rashan writes in, which gut bacteria strains are involved in insoluble fiber digestion? Insoluble fiber, I would say more insoluble fiber, maybe like the psyllium husk. That's what I'm thinking. A lot of the soluble fibers I like are like the pectins, like the apple pectin or citrus pectin or celery root or carrot root. Those are really good too. Addie writes in, does a hydrocolonic wipe out good bacteria in the stomach? That's always a concern. I'm not too sure. I would be careful on using them too much. I'm only a big fan of doing a lot of colonics if you're really having a lot of bowel motility issues, because I do get concerned about the electrolyte stuff and maybe gut bacteria. So I think, short periods of time, it may be okay. Nancy writes in, how would you address C. diff with mild symptoms? I want to make sure, Nancy, that everything is dialed in regarding all of the other infections. Make sure your diet's dialed in, but we could use some berberines. I would use my GI Clear 4, which has some berberines and grapefruit seed extract. And I'd also do Saccharomyces boulardii to help with that, Nancy. Are you a fan of coconut water? It's about 10 grams of pure sugar. Yeah, post-workout though. Post-workout, I think it's good. Decent bit of sugar in it, so you got to be careful with it. Really good source of potassium as well. Post-workout, I think it's good. What's the best diet for an endomorph body type? So you have what? We have our ectomorphs, the tall, skinny basketball player, right? The mesomorphs, the middle. It's the middle guy. That's like the linebacker. And the endomorphs, the bigger person. I would lean more to a ketogenic diet if you're an endomorph. Will oral probiotics survive if you're fasting? Yeah, I wouldn't see there being a problem with that. Pamela writes in, my lips peel and bleed constantly. I have other weird things going on with my skin. Autoimmune template. Do it fast. Let me know how it goes. How long would you take bio-HPF with an H. pylori infection? Almost through 2 weeks run of GI Microbex, still pretty raw already, but have no other options. I would be starting on the bio-HPF if you're going to do that, because there's some healing, soothing things in there. I'd be doing that before the GI Microbex, because H. pylori resides more on the stomach. I always treat proximal to distal, right? North to south, down the intestinal tract. Pam writes in, I'm having some weird cravings as well. Yeah, so you got to get that autoimmunity kind of dialed in. It sounds like some autoimmune stuff going on. Hope that helps, Nora. James writes in, what supplements do you take daily? All JIH supplements, of course. Yeah, so the ones I have on my desk right now, I have ashwagandha. I have Brain Replete. I have Mito. I have some dopamine support. And some of these I've just dialed in based on my organic acid labs. I do GABA as I'm stressed. So depending if I'm stressed or not, I'll do it accordingly. I have my multi-pack out in my kitchen, and then I just do collagen. I keep it pretty simple. I may rotate in other adaptogens depending on stress, and I may cut down the dose on the weekend. But those are my core. And then if I run a SpectraCell or run an organics or something else pops up on the nutrient side, I may rotate it in or out depending on what comes back. So I like to have a good multi, a good adaptogen, a good essential fat. I'll throw vitamin D in there depending on my sunlight exposure. And then I would say amino acids according to what my testing says. But I keep it pretty simple. Once you're infection free and you're able to manage your stress pretty well and your nutrient density is pretty good, you don't need too much because you got a lot more momentum there. Hope that helps. But great questions there, James. Awesome question. Is grass-fed butter a good source of iodine? I wouldn't say it would be a good source. I would think, eggs is going to be a little bit of iodine in eggs. I'm pretty sure, obviously, the best source is going to be a little bit of seaweed. I'll give you a couple rundown here in a minute of some good paleo sources of iodine. Okay, I'll give you some good options. Okay, so while that's coming up here, let me roll on to the next question. How often do you get your retest for the GI map and organics? I'll try to do the organics at least once to twice a year, and GI map at least once a year. Pam writes in, I apologize, this is the wrong place to ask these questions. I'm so tired of this. Yep, so I think you're right. What you asked up there was great. Autoimmune template. Go to my website, go to justinhealth.com and just type in autoimmune template or autoimmune diet, and you'll see hours and hours of content on this stuff. So go look at that. And if you need to reach out to me specifically so we can chat or consult, justinhealth.com, click on the schedule button and we can chat too. How deficient were you with dopamine? I was on the lower side. I was definitely in that bottom part. I mean, I just think I work really hard. I love what I do, so I really push it. And right now, of course, having a child, I dream feed them like between 11 and 11:30. So sometimes I'll get to bed at 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. So I'm up a little bit later than I like. So those are the big things there that I just have to work on that and support myself, even though I'm burning the candle at both ends. So it's not ideal. In a perfect world, I try to go to bed closer to 11 and get at least 8 hours. Let me hear. Thanks a lot, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Where do you do your organic acid testing? I do it through Genova. MK writes in, how do you wean off pregnenolone and DHEA drops? Do you have to slowly? Again, the doses are pretty low. So typically if we're dealing with a patient and they're infection-free, their diet's good, they've been stable, they're a female, their hormones are relatively stable, they can just come off. Now, if you're concerned about that, you can always half the dose and then, wait a month and then come off fully the next month. That's totally fine. Pam writes in, thanks. I've been going to several doctors. They just keep sending around. No one has said these words to me. Yeah, you're totally welcome, Pam. I'm glad I could help. Again, a lot of these issues, most docs, there's a lot of good functional medicine docs out there, but a lot of them don't tie a lot of the practical information and a lot of the nutritional stuff. And you got to tie both together. When you build a house, the higher up you build it, the stronger the foundation has to be. So we have to just make sure, like silly things like, are you sleeping okay? Are you pooping every day? Can you actually digest and break down your foods? Is your diet, relatively anti-inflammatory, and can you tolerate it? Those are just simple things we have to make Sure of. Headaches right after eating. Look at food allergens. Look at food allergens. Spivey writes in, is there an easy way to test your body fat? I would say a Tanita scale would be the best. Tanita scale. Go to Amazon and Google that. I see collagen protein and bone broth protein in stores. Are they the same? No. Well, they are similar. Basically, bone broth protein is like it's designed already to be bone broth. So you add water and it's done. Collagen wouldn't necessarily taste like bone broth, but it's going to be similar. Collagen, in my opinion, is going to be, if you just do collagen, it's going to be totally neutral, one of the flavor to it. The big people that do the bone broth protein are going to be obviously Dr. Axe over at Ancient Nutrition and Vital Proteins. They do some that are good. So I think bone broth and collagen they're kind of the same thing. Bone broth is more going to be, the powder bone broth is more to make it so you don't have to go cook bone broth and do all that stuff with the bones and the crock pot. And I see collagen as being very similar, but maybe not quite the flavor. You wouldn't necessarily heat up collagen, put it in some hot water and sip it. It'd be more something you add to your coffee or add to a shake. Very similar though. I think they're very similar. What's a good protein supplement for someone with Hashimoto's on strict AIP? I would do my True Collagen or collagen protein or a really good pea protein as well. That's helpful. Cynthia writes in, is it bad to take organic wheatgrass every day in my protein shake? Should I take breaks in between? Yes, I would say I would take breaks in between as well. Oh, cool. Facebook allows me to click see more now. That's a new feature. Awesome. So yes, I would. Wheatgrass, I think up to before the age of 12 days old, there's no gluten in it. So wheatgrass, supposedly, if it's picked early enough, there's no gluten. So you should be okay, but I would be careful with that for sure. What were the results in your last GI map? I was pretty clean. I think I had one little parasite and I cleaned it out. I got to redo it. I have a kit over there in the corner in my office. I got to redo it soon. And I have an organic acid test and a metals test. So I got to jump on it. But overall, in the past, I had an H. pylori. I've had a handful of infections over my lifetime and I've been able to knock them out. Digestive supplements for folks who don't digest fat well. In my line, it's the Liver Supreme. Now, the ingredients for that are going to be ox bile. Phosphatidylcholine is a really good emulsifying agent. Dandelion helps with gallbladder flow. Fringe tree root, artichoke root, milk thistle is a good liver tonifier. Taurine's really good. So again, like, you know, I formulate my own products, but if you know what the ingredients are, you can mix and match it. And of course, if you want to support me, you can always just grab it from me as well. But those are the ones that I like and I use on my patients. Thanks, by the way, for your last week's suggestions. You were right. I'd taken too much iodine, 50 milligrams, the Wolff-Chaikoff effect. My primary doctor didn't realize that's what it was. Good. Hey, I'm really happy I helped you there. Thanks so much, Francis, for letting me know. Think for yourself. Please make a complete podcast on fat malabsorption and deficiencies that come with it. Probably done some already. Feel free and Google like gallbladder or fat malabsorption in my website at justinhealth.com in the search box at the top. Everything is transcribed. So it's like a database of free knowledge for you. James writes in regards to prior questions, the carnivore diet, Dr. Sean Baker on the Joe Rogan, all meat diet, no veggies or anything else. He eats high quantities of meat. I think it's probably okay, especially if you add in organ meats. If you add in organ meats, I think you'd probably be okay because organ meats are so freaking nutritionally dense. So I think you'd be okay. But I mean, in my opinion, I always get concerned about like potassium and some of these micronutrients that are going to be in these veggies. So I probably wouldn't do it. But I think if he added in organ meats, I think he'd probably be fine. Think for yourself. Started injecting in B12. All my balance problems are gone. It was very hard to overdose it, right? Well, if you were B12, I'd want to know why you had a hard time absorbing it. Do you have gut issues? Are you a vegetarian? I want to get to the root cause, because if you're injecting B12 and it's working well and helping, then I'm like, man, you're either like eating a really deficient diet or you got some significant malabsorption issues. Best herbs for Candida. I would say oil of oregano, my GI Clear 5, a good silver, that's my GI Clear 3. You could do berberines. You could do undecanoic acid by Thorne, formula SF722. You could do, see here, I said oil of oregano. I mean, you could do grapefruit seed extract. I have some of that on my GI Clear 4, a good amount, but you could do pure grapefruit seed extract. You could do, think, is there anything else with Candida? Those would be the best like 5 or 6, I would say. Yep, that's pretty good right there. Spivey writes in, That was a comment. Charlie Robinson, for someone that's infection free and the organics looks good, they do have a heavy metal test. I would do a heavy metal test. Yeah. I think it's great. Like once you're cleaned out and your gut's working good, that's awesome. Hey, Jeff, how's it going? How come I keep getting infected with H. pylori? I'm taking the GI Clear 2 and 5, activated charcoal, and L-glutamine, still been with more nausea and panic attacks, yet not getting better. Well, I mean, I think you got to work on your diet. I think you got to work on your lifestyle. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in your life, and I also know you're on a lot of psychotropic meds, so you got to get that dialed in and worked out with your prescribing MD there, and you really need to get your diet 100% on track. And you need to, get back on those herbs, but you got to taper up. You were pushing it and creating a whole bunch of die-off. So you got to really work on the gut healing, the gut soothing, and then increase those herbs to tolerance, but no ulcerations. We don't want to create any problems. So lean into that and continue to get it up to full dose or to whatever you can tolerate without problems. And I think you're going to need to really maybe add in something like a GABA or some extra ashwagandha and some adaptogens, and just make sure your blood sugar is pretty stable. I wouldn't go longer than 5 hours without eating. Lemon water, good for liver cleanse. I think it's great. Chronic sore throat, do some ginger tea, do some cherry bark in there. Gargle with some hydrogen peroxide. Take a shot of apple cider vinegar a couple times a day. Do some colloidal silver. Awesome. Hope that helps. Cinnamon oil. Yeah, cinnamon oil is another good one for candida. Great job, NK, in that. How do you do EMDR on yourself? You can work with a practitioner. I work with Daniel Hill. He's great. But I would, you can do it with the EFT. There's parts where you're tapping and you're on the gamut point here, and you do your eyes like this, and then you do your eyes like this, and then you go hard right, hard left. That's kind of the EMDR stuff. You can also do it when you're like tapping on certain spots, and you can just literally look right, look left, look right, left, up, down, 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So you can do it when you're tapping as well, because when you move those eyes, you're activating certain cranial nerves, right? So in school, medical school, will teach you like LR6. So to move your eyes this way or this way, it's your number 6 cranial nerve. I think that, oh man, it's been so long. I think that's I could tell you the acronym, how I used to memorize them, but it's not quite kosher. I'll have to think about that again. I think it's wow, it's been a long time studying this. So you have your lateral rectus, that's your number 6. You have your superior oblique, that's your down and in. And then all the rest are the oculomotor number 3. That's how you know them. But when you activate those cranial nerve, different parts of the brain are lighting up. That's how that works. Hope that helps there. Okay. What could cause morning slightly high blood sugar? Cortisol. Cortisol could. What's on the menu tonight, Dr. J? Oh, great question. Actually, we had some help this morning. We have a helper come over to help cook a little bit during the week. And today I had an iceberg lettuce wedge salad, and I was able to get the ranch dressing that they make homemade over at Perry's downtown, which was phenomenal. And then I had some chicken thighs that were cooked up, and then some Brussels sprouts and bacon. That was absolutely amazing. We'll probably do a little more of that. And I saw my wife this morning making a crock pot full of meat and veggies for tonight. So I'm stoked on that too. And I just had some berries and coconut yogurt with cinnamon on it for my actually afternoon dessert. That was kind of nice. Oh yeah, thanks a lot for we'll stay safe. We caught the bomber here this morning, not me, but people of Austin did. So super happy on that. Thoughts on hair thinning while on keto? I would say, Johnson, just be careful if your insulin's getting too low and you notice hair loss happening when you're on keto. You may want to look at getting your thyroid tested, and you may want to look at potentially getting your gut looked at, but definitely your thyroid looked at for sure. Okay. Think for yourself. I have a lot of gut issues, bloating, constipation, floating stool, dry skin, lips. I'm doing AIP diet, focusing on eliminating grains. So what do you think is causing my B12 deficiency? Everything above. You probably have a lot of infections. Got to get you looked at deeper. Vitamin D was 10. Oh my gosh. In the tank. Yeah. Got to look at the gut. Delcy, high cortisol in the morning, but fine for the rest of the day. Best to take adaptogens when waiting. I take them throughout the day. I mean, adaptogens aren't going to ever push a normal rhythm necessarily out of balance. So I think you're okay with that. Think for yourself. I'm 18-year-old male. You got some infections, man. We got to work on that. Got to work on it. K-Mom, 23. Hashimoto, started having panic attacks. Thyroid levels good. but found out ferritin at 7. Should I look into parasites? Oof. So number one, you're either a vegetarian or vegan. You either have a really, excessive menstruation. You either have a lot of menstruation, a lot of blood coming out during your menstruation days, or you just have a lot more days that are adding up. Or number 3, you have some infections and you're malabsorbing it. So it's going to be one of those 3. If you want to chime back in what it is, I can give you more comments. Charlie Robinson, you look tired. Always. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Rashawn Nykerkson, Consumer Reports released a report indicating very high levels of heavy metal toxicity in most brands of popular supplements. What do you think about that? Does it also mean our foods have the same? Yeah, I mean, I get mine all independently tested. So we buy the raw materials from like higher end manufacturers, and then we bring them in, and then we have independent assays done. And I had to send back some ashwagandha 3 months ago because it was contaminated with lead. So like if you get ashwagandha from me, you know that I'm going to run tests on it to make sure it's good. And because I take it, my family takes it. I wouldn't take something that's crap. Awesome. I think we hit that. Thanks, Spivey. Addie writes in, what do you say to check thyroid for hair thinning on keto? I would look at your TSH, T4 free, T3 free, and thyroid antibodies. That's what I'd look at. Hope that helps. Hope that helps, guys. Any last questions, feel free and let me know. And overall, my energy is doing pretty good, Charlie. I mean, I wouldn't be able to work 12 hours a day and see as many patients as I do if I didn't have pretty good energy. If I got an extra 2 hours of sleep, though, I'd be invincible, though. That is for sure. Let's see here. Can anyone purchase your supplements? Yeah, of course you can. If you want to support me and what I do and just, all the free information I give out there, that's always great. justinhealth.com/shop. Or go to justinhealth.com, click on the Healthy Living Store, and all that is there for you. And K-Mom writes in, not vegetarian. Yes. Heavy periods. Ding, 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 ding. Veggies garden, healthy. Okay. So you know what it is. You got to get your hormones fixed. Got to get your hormones fixed. Oh, I see you retracted your comment. But anyway, you got to get your hormones fixed. There's probably some estrogen dominance going on there. If you get that fixed, you're going to see an improvement in your menstruation, and that's going to mean you're going to accumulate iron better. But you got to get the iron fixed because low iron is going to affect your adrenals, and it's also going to affect your thyroid as well. Anything else to raise testosterone besides pregnenolone and DHA? I would say just lifting weights is going to be good. Amino acids are going to be good as well. How long do I take Bio HPF for? 60 days. Okay, Mom, hope that's helpful. I know you retracted that, but I'm glad that helps you out. Let's see here. Nguyen writes in, cold hands, feet, but thyroid was an optimal functional range. Got to look at mitochondria. Got to look at adrenals. Francis writes in, scheduling appointment to retest everything. Should I not drink water with meals? Paul, check. Book 15 months before, not during. Okay. All right. So yeah. So in general, you should not at least 10 to 15 minutes before. No hydration is ideal. So you don't dilute your digestive enzymes. Water's got a pH of 7. Your gut's got a pH of 1.5 or 2. You mix a whole bunch of 7 and a little bit of 2. Guess what happens to your pH? It goes up in that alkaline direction. Mr. Sawa, I'm taking up to 13 capsules of HCl with pepsin. Nothing happens. What to do for low stomach acid? Well, the question is, does your digestion not improve at all, or is your digestion already pretty decent? I would make sure enzymes are there and look deeper at the gut. Anything planned for PaleoFX? Yeah, I'll be there. I got a thyroid talk going. They invited me back. I'm happy. I'm back in the house. Why don't you become buff? I think I am pretty buff. I don't know. I'm 6'2", 215. I'm pretty buff. At least that's what I hear. Anything else, guys? Let me know. I'm going to go jump on to another patient call here. Last questions. And I'm going to be traveling, guys, this Friday. I'm going to be going to Kansas City to see my in-law. So you may not see me. I may have like a virtual setup. So we'll see. If I can go live in Kansas City, I will. But if I can't, you guys at least know where I'm at. Anything else? Let me know. Checking Facebook here. I think I hit all my questions. Oh, no, I answered that by Cynthia. That's good. James, you guys totally welcome. Awesome. I'm going to sign off. You guys have a phenomenal day, and I'll be back soon. And by the way, give me a thumbs up. Give me a subscribe. Give me a share. I appreciate it. What do I think of Gaia Herbs? Gaia Herbs is good quality. They have good products. Excellent. Thanks, guys. Give me that thumbs up. Appreciate it. You guys take care. Bye now.